physical geography of India. So we will start from the northward journey of India, which led finally to the formation of Himalayas. We know that Indian plate was a part of the Gondwana land and the Eurasian plate was a part of the Angara land. India, the Indian subcontinent started its movement towards the Eurasian plate around 70 million years ago. There were various rivers which were flowing in both the land masses and they were collecting their sediments in the Tethys Sea. The Tethys Sea is also a geosyncline. By geosyncline, we mean that it is a narrow, shallow water body which is between the two rigid land masses. Later, these sediments itself lead to the formation of mountains, fold mountains, which we call by the name of Himalayas. The Himalayas have a characteristic feature of syntaxial bend. This is formed uh, the two ends where the Indus takes a turn and Brahmaputra takes a turn flowing towards India. The Himalayas are an example of the continent collision, but when the Tethys Sea and the Eurasian plate collided, we got the formation of Trans Himalayas, which have a volcanic origin. The Indian plate started, as we saw, 70 million years ago. It is separated by the sea. The collision occurred in three phases, and hence we have the three parallel ranges of Himalayas, known as the Greater Himalayas, the Middle Himalayas, and the Shivaliks. Why do we don't see the volcanic eruption now in the Himalayas? Because still the plate is moving and the Himalayas are still getting higher. This is due to the doubling up of the continental crust. As we can see here, due to the continent collision, the Indian plate being denser just slides under the Eurasian plate, which makes the crust around 75 kilometers and hence not allowing the magma to flow out. The Himalayas can be divided into Trans Himalayas, the Greater Himalayas, Middle Himalayas, and the Shivaliks. They take the syntaxial bends at Nanga Parbat and Namcha Barwa. At Nanga Parbat, the Indus takes a U-turn, southward turn, and at Namcha Barwa, Brahmaputra takes a turn. The Trans Himalayas consist of Karakoram, Ladakh, and Kailash range. We have the Pamir north from where the Hindu Kush, Kulnun Shah, and the Suleiman ranges move out. The Himalayas are around 2,400 kilometers wide in length and in width around 400 to 160 kilometers, signifying that they are wide at the western end and very narrow at the east. They almost merge at the eastern point. At the same latitude around Delhi, if see, we see that the Himalayas are very far, but at the same latitude in the eastern plains, we see that the Himalayas are very close towards us. When the three parallel ranges of Himalayas were formed, they created three uh, zones of faults. The first one between the Tibetan Plateau Range and the Great Himalayas is the ITSZ, that is the Indo-Sangpo Sucha zone. Between the Great Himalayas and the Middle Himalayas, we have the main central thrust. And between the Middle Himalayas and the Shivaliks, we have the main boundary thrust. The area between this was filled by the sediments which gave rise to the Great Plains. We see that the slope of the mountains on the northern side, that is towards China, is very gentle, whereas the end towards India is very steep. The Great Himalayas are also known as Himadri or Central Himalayas. They are almost snow covered and they have the average height is very high, around 6,000 meters. They extend from Nanga Parbat to Namcha Parva. They are mostly made up of granite and gneiss. They have a hogback appearance. That is ridge and valley. Again, the northern part is very gentle and the southern part is very steep. They run from east to west, where from Namcha Barwa, from Nanga Parbat to Namcha Barwa, where the two rivers takes a sudden southward trend. The various peaks we can see in the Uttarakhand region are Bandarpunj, Kame, Trishul, and Nanda Devi, and in the Nepal Himalayas, we see Nandagiri, Annapurna, Everest, and Kanchenjunga, which is the second highest peak as well. The various passes In J&K are Zojila and Burjil Pass. In Uttarakhand, it's the Baralachala and Shipkila. In Uttarakhand, in Himachal, it is Baralachala and Shipkila. In Uttarakhand, it is Nainital and Lipulik. In Sikkim, we see Nathula and Jalebla. In Arunachal Pradesh, there is a presence of Bumdila Pass. The Middle Himalayas, they are known as various names. In J&K, they are known as the Pir Panchal range. In Himachal, they are known as the Dhauladhar range. And in Uttarakhand, they are known as the Masuri or the Nag Tiba range. There's also presence of Baniyal Pass in Pir Panchal. The Kashmir Valley is between the Zashkar and the Pir Panchal range or the Great Himalayas. We see the formation of Karevas, that is during the Pleistocene period, between the Great Himalayas and the Middle Himalayas when they were formed. The rivers which were flowing here, due to the formation of the Middle Himalayas, the water got collected. During the Pleistocene age, that is during the Ice Age, this water froze and the sediments of the rivers got collected over this region. Later, when the glaciers melted, this fluvio-glacial deposits, which were rich in clay, came to the formation of Karevats. These Karevats are famous for the saffron, which is local variety of saffron which is grown in this region. The Shivaliks or the outer Himalayas, they generally tend to form the continuous range from west to Tista, and later they get divided into Mishmi, Agod, Miri and Dafla. Even here during the Middle Himalayas and the Shivalik formation, due to the Shivalik formation, the rivers got collected and they resulted in the formation of lakes. These lakes had certain deposits, but as these rivers started cutting through, they cut the mountains and the sediments which were deposited by these rivers remained, leading to the formation of dunes or duars. They are known as dunes in the western part and they are known as duars in the eastern part. They are also known as various names. Just in Jammu, they are known as Jammu Hills. In Uttarakhand and Nepal, they are known as Budwa. In Arunachal Pradesh, they are named of Mishmi, Apur, Miri, and Dafla range. The Trans Himalayas are known as Karakoram, Kailash, Ladakh range. We shall see the various glaciers which are found here. Around the Karakoram range, we see glaciers such as Batura, Hispar, Biflo, Batoro, and Siachen. In Pir Panjal range, it is Sonapani, which forms the headwaters of River Chandra. River Chandra and River Bhaga form River Chenab. Yamunotri, Gangotri, and Milam glaciers, and the Zemu glacier. As we divided the Himalayas from north to south, that is the Great Himalayas, Middle Himalayas, and the Shivaliks. Now we shall divide them region wise, that is the Punjab Himalayas, Kumaon Himalayas, Nepal Himalayas, and Assam Himalayas. The significance of Himalayas that they obstruct the southwest monsoon winds, giving rainfall towards the Punjab plains and the northern plains. They do not allow the Siberian winds to cross through and create cold regions here. They generally split the subtropical westerly jet stream, which causes the western disturbance in the northern plains during the monsoon. The Tibet Plateau heats up, creating a low pressure zone and hence drawing winds towards it. It acts as a defense barrier for India. It is a source of various perennial rivers which helps in agriculture and irrigation. The Great Plains, which are formed by the deposition of the sediments of the Himalayan rivers, hydroelectricity potential because of very steep and high at the height of the Himalayas, the forest resources which have the medicinal value as well. Terrace agriculture can be formed, plantation of rice, tea and horticulture can be done here. It serves as a biodiversity hotspot and home to wildlife. Tourist and pilgrimages centers have been developed here. Minerals such as anthracite in Kalakot region of Jammu and Kashmir, limestone, gold, copper, and there is also potential of oil. Yeah, the Karakoram and Zaskar River show flows between Karakoram and Ladakh, and thus flows between Ladakh and Zaskar region. Between the Zaskar or the Great Himalayas and the Pir Panjal range is the Valley of Kashmir, which also has the Vuller Lake, which is saltwater lake, the Banihal Pass and the Rohtang Pass in Pir Panjal range. The Varogasi Jaintia system hills are the part of the peninsular block, which is separated by the Malda Fault at the Rajmahal Karo Gap. The Patkai Naga Hills, Manipur Hills, and Mizo Hills, also known as the Rushai Hills, are the extended part of Himalayas. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands also are the peaks which are formed due to the Himalayan ranges.